Good morning and welcome to the Stone Busters Taste Challenge. We have from 1899, Dewar's White Label, no age statement, from Bacardi Limited owners these days. Distilled, aged, blended, or blended and aged, dependent, and bottled in Scotland under a royal warrant for the family of Great Britain and Queen Elizabeth II and company. Versus imported, makes sense, from Scotland, J.W. Dant's blended Scotch whiskey, bottled in Bardstown, Kentucky by J.W. Dant Distillers Company. In other words, Heaven Hill. You can tell it's a Heaven Hill bottle with that straight cylindrical shape. Age 36 months. If you're waiting in the checkout and you're bored, you can read, instead of looking at your smartphone, which isn't that smart, you could read this essay on the back label about Scotch. The past, ... And it goes into, so you can like read an article on the back of the bottle. Okay, J.W. Dant's company was established in 1836 as a bourbon producer in Kentucky. It got pretty big, and then they expanded their line. They started contracting with some people to get a J.W. Dant Scotch, a J.W. Dant's this, a J.W. Dant's that. You know what I'm saying? Like the whole thing. Now today you can get their bourbon, blended whiskey, charcoal perfected blended, which is the one I have. And it goes on and on. I mean, but it is not an independent company. It is under the Heaven Hill umbrella. Heaven Hill bottles Hunter Pipers for Chivas Brothers, but they don't own it, the brand. That's just an agreement. But with J.W. Dant's, it's totally owned by Heaven Hill, okay? But they don't try to let you know that. They try to make it look like it's independent. So there's a crest with a shield, some fleur-de-lis, 2 lions, 2 flags. You know, it's in a bunch of medals that I'm sure it never won. So it's like JW. They're trying to make it look like J and B a little bit, you know. It's fooling no one. Now this is so cheap at Dorgnecks. It's not sold in my town, and I've only seen it at Dorgnecks. I never saw this. I've never seen this at any other grocery store or liquor store. This product is $8.99 a liter, $8.99 for 1 liter of blended Scotch, and it's pretty good. For the price, it's pretty good. Is it a great Scotch on its own? Well, I mean, you know, it's ordinary, but I chipped one of my tulip mini snifters, so those are out of action. We'll see how long the D'Amores last. It's pale, it's golden, it's aged 3 years. It might be colored with caramel to spruce it up a little bit. This I do not know. Dewar's is pretty dark. Do they add coloring? I guess so. How long is it aged? I don't know. They don't give an age statement. Probably 5 years, something like that. 4 or 5 years, probably not long. Can't believe it. Got it even. First attempt. Dewar's is pretty much what I expected when I started this series. It's a rather ordinary thing. There's a lot of grain alcohol, grain whiskey. Tastes like distilled corn. There's a little touch of peatiness, which is like compost, garden compost. Beyond that, it's pretty ordinary. The Dant's be the same type thing. Now, what's the difference? Well, the Dant's, you can get a liter at Dorgnac's. Price hasn't changed in years. Hello. I'm just doing a taste challenge. $8.99 a liter at Dorgnac's. Dewar's is $18.99 for a 750. So that's a pretty bad mismatch on price point. So the Dewar's is going to cost you a lot more per ounce. But is it going to live up to the price difference? My prediction is no, it is not. It hasn't really anyway in this whole Taste Challenge series. Dewar's has a pretty bottle, has a pretty label, okay? Has a beautiful website. But I'm not seeing what's so good about it. It's pretty drab. That's a good word. Drab. Not bad. Drab. Now the Dewar's Mezcal, the Dewar's illegal Mezcal finish, hey, that's really great. It's worth the extra $5. And it lives up to its $23 bottle price point. It is a winner. But the Dewar's white label, it ain't cutting it. Clan McGregor is not better than it, but it sure ain't worse. And Clan McGregor's not $9.99 a bottle. And I got mine's for $5. Crazy, huh? $5. I can't look down here because there is a slight difference in color. The Dewar's being a shade darker, but really not much. There's a lot of drab, inexpensive blended Scotch whiskeys. Are there anything like, oh, I got to remember to do Scoresby. I'm gonna leave some out if I don't keep up with this. Scoresby. Sazerac bought that from Diageo in 2018. There's another example. It's dull. There ain't nothing happening. I don't know why they're selling it for $30 a handle in Louisiana. It's price pointed at the same price as Dewar's. Why? I don't know. In Georgia, John Anilli says cheap, like $9 a bottle. But in Louisiana, they got it price pointed with Dewar's. I guess Diageo wanted it that way. Now Sazerac has it, but Sazerac doesn't do anything to promote that product. There's no website listing for Scoresby. So anyway, enough ruminations and thinking about it. I mean, suffice it to say, you can pay half the price of Dewar's and get something just as good. Can you do that with Johnny Walker Red Label? No way. No way. I can get Johnny Walker Red at Martin Wine Cellar for $17.99. I don't know why they got it cheaper over there. $17.99. So let's say $18 a bottle. You ain't getting nothing as good as that for half price. In fact, I haven't had anything as good as that for the price. You see what I'm saying? Here comes that Kansas City Southern. They're still having that buyout war. Canadian National Railways took out an entire ad in the newspaper. This is why our bid should be saying this is why our bid should be accepted for the Kansas City Southern Railroad. And they went on and on. And we're not going to move the headquarters out of Kansas City. We're going to keep those jobs there and blah, blah, blah. Our bid is better than Canadian Pacific. And I was thinking to myself, who in Louisiana cares about this? I mean, I know the railroad comes through our state, but are regular newspaper readers paying any mind to this? It must be targeted at state regulators like whoever approves the bid, I don't know, or state senators to U.S. Congress. I mean, U.S. senators. I mean, who approves that? Got to be the U.S. Trade Commission, huh? And they're going to talk about antitrust considerations. I don't support antitrust laws, and I don't want y'all to take that the wrong way. I'm a free market, free enterprise type guy. Okay, this smells it just smells ordinary. Endeavor to persevere. Endeavor to persevere. Okay. This smells the same way. It's just like one and again, it's like something and it's like the same thing twice. Grain alcohol. I said this so many times in my reviews. It's like a box of Cheerios. You say, well, that's oats. I know. And these are corn based, but I don't know. It just smells like that, like a general cereal grain, not any specific grain. And then it's distilled. they're not offensive, but they're not like where you say to yourself, "Oh man, I just got to run out and get it." Nah. But I had a single malt whiskey the other day that I was thinking to myself, now that video is going to look bad. I might delete it because I had reviewed the MD 2020 sweet blue raspberry, 12%. You say that ain't nothing. Yeah, go ahead and drink a can of that, a whole pint can of it, and think that ain't nothing. And I waited a good while, and then I did the follow-up. I did the solo review of this Glenrothes 1995. But I said, oh, when people watch that, I'm gonna have to hear all those comments like, oh, you were loaded and everything. And then I'll have to explain, no, well, what happened was I had reviewed the MD 2020 sweet blue raspberry and all of that. But I thought I kept it together pretty well. I wasn't too out on Plan 9 from outer space. But the thing about that Glenrothes, it was age 18 years. 18 years. They put it in the barrel in 1995, and they didn't bottle it till 2013. But to me, it's just like regular old stuff. I mean, I was thinking, what is it about this that would make somebody want to pay $50? I don't see it. Was it bad? Well, no, it wasn't bad, of course. It was very good. It was in the 90s. But then so was Glenmorangie. And I got Glenmorangie for $27 right at Walmart. No age statement on that one. But I think Glenmorangie is like 5 to 7 years. Something, their website to give a range. But I'm not paying twice the amount for something that's no better. And I saw some articles and some video articles, like videos, but it was like an article saying that don't be tricked. A lot of these aged things, it's just a gimmick, like age 12, 18 years, 20 years. It doesn't really, it doesn't oftentimes improve the product. But you imagine it does, so you run out and pay all this money. They told me at the distillery that small batch is a scam, basically. And that was from Barton 1792 Distillery. Telling me small batch, that's marketing, man. Okay. This is rounded, like it's soft. There's no sharp edges, and it's got a little compost. I'm thinking it's Dewar's, but you know what? That J.W. Dance can trick you. Trick you. Now look, daylight's coming in, and it's only 6:02. Look at that. Jägermeister. Yeah, I've had that. Tastes like medicine. And in fact, I know a woman from Germany. She said in Germany they use it as medicine, like a digestive after they eat supper. People so they don't really use it as a drink. Nobody considers it an alcohol or a drink. It's a medicine. Good morning, Ron, says Jules. Did you hear about the case of wine that spent time aging on the space station? I heard something about that, but I didn't really pay attention to it. I didn't quite understand it. Okay, so that one has some bread dough. Okay, let's go over here. $1 million. Yeah, thanks. I don't think I'd pay that. But, they got this conspicuous consumption from wealthy people. Of course, I don't support a tax increase on them either. This is similar, grain alcohol, but there's not that bread dough thing. There's not. I think the other one has more single malt whiskey added, a higher ratio. Are these mostly grain whiskey column still? Yeah. Do they use single malt to flavor it? Yeah, well, that's where the flavor is coming from. Now, the Dewar's might be 20% single malt. maybe 30. Yeah, maybe 30%. Whereas the JW Dance, as cheap as it is, nah, it's probably 20% single malt, and that's it. Like American blended whiskey, you get 20% straight bourbon, and the rest is grain spirits, and that's all you got. And some of them will taste pretty good even with that. All right. Of course, the American companies are allowed to cheat a little bit. They can add 2% blending sherry. You say blending sherry. Why would you add sherry to a whiskey? Well, the U.S. government says for flavor consistency is what they say on there. I don't know all these things. Okay. There's got to be a reason, and they allow it, and it's a common practice, and they don't even have to disclose it. It'll just say with natural flavors, and that's what your natural flavors are, your blending sherry. It's natural, it comes from grapes. You get a set of wine glasses made out of a meteor. Wow. Yeah, that's what I've been looking to get one of those. Okay, let's get this done. Time to go for a walk and whatnot. I got to catch up on baseball highlights. I watched all the American League, and they're very interesting. I looked at the Cubs and Reds National League game. Yeah, right. And so no, I'm getting confused. But it was on TV last night. The Cubs and was it the Dodgers? No. It was 0-0 when I turned it on, but I couldn't stay awake. I was so sleepy I turned it off. But anyway, I watched those highlights. A couple won this time. Yeah, but they're not doing too well. And I watched the interleague. White Sox lost to the Cincinnati Reds 1-0. It was like the 10th inning, and it ended 1-0. Boy, I bet that was an exciting game, huh? There was a nearly perfect game last night, though, with the Baltimore Orioles. First no-hitter for them since 1969. But the perfect game was ruined by a kind of a wild pitch in it. The ball went past the catcher, and the batsman ran to first base, and then he made it to second later. But so it wasn't a perfect game. A man if somebody reaches base, it ain't no perfect game. But it was close to perfect. Sugary sweet. Huh? You say, oh, well, when I think of scotch, I don't think of sugar. Well, you would here. Notice I haven't been talking about smoke. No smoke. Forget smoke. And that's totally off the table. There is no smokiness with either one of these. If you want a smoky, rich, peaty Scotch whiskey, these ain't going to work. I mean, you're wasting your time. Total waste of time. If you want something standard, kind of smooth, not harsh or abrasive, good for making cocktails, and you can look on the Dewar's website for mixed drink ideas and highball, whatever. Yeah, fine. But to swish it around in these glasses and talk about, the delicate qualities of each and all the attributes, nah, there's no point to it because they don't have that. A little peatiness there, a little compost. That's it. Reds won. The Reds have been doing all right, but they'll collapse. That's the kind of team they are. They'll be doing well, and then the Reds fans will be getting excited, and then they'll collapse and do terrible. And then at least Wade Miley from Louisiana has been pitching okay for them. He went to Southeastern Louisiana University. He's been in there, 11 years in the major leagues now? But he's kind of like the Reds. He'll start off hot and then bomb out. By the end of the season, he's not even playing every year, But he has played 11 years, and ain't too many people from college baseball programs that go 11 years. That doesn't 1-0. Yeah, haha. This one has no peatiness at all. I mean, it's just basic. Not bad. See, people interpret basic for bad. No, it's just basic. It's grain. It's distilled. It's aged for 3 years minimum, and they bottle it in Kentucky. I think that's the Dance. Is it as good as the Dewars? It's not quite as good, but it's such a small difference that there is no way I'm going to pay. I'm not going to pay $18.99 for a 750 milliliter bottle, or as they used to call them, a fifth of Dewars, when I can get the Dance liter at door next for $8.99. I'm not doing it. I'm not. And I mean, I don't drink whiskey anyway. People say, what are you talking about? You do taste challenges 365 days a year. Yeah, that's right. But that's the only time I ever drink whiskey. Well, I mean, I'm not going to pour it out. So if I do a new one, like I did the Glenrothes 1995, 18-year age. I did the Glenrothes solo, review sitting in the kitchen. Fine. That counted as one of the days, 365. Then I did the taste challenges. That's another one of the days right now. But any other time, I never drank it. I mean, it sounds crazy, right? People say, "Wait, how does that work?" I mean, you do taste challenges, you do reviews, but you don't actually drink whiskey as a whiskey drinker. That is honestly the truth. And I could act like I did, like, oh yeah, I'm part of the whiskey culture. I'm into it. It's part of my lifestyle and all, but it isn't. So when I hear people talking about it, I'm like an outsider listening. I'm like detached. I'm like, they were talking about last night we were drinking whiskey and talking about religion or whatever. And I'm just like thinking, okay. I would sip on beer and talk about religion or sip on water, but I just don't come home from work and say, oh, I'm going to drink some whiskey. I just don't do it. If I did it, I would tell you, honestly, I do that. That's part of my lifestyle. That's part of my culture. And I don't do that with any other liquor. I don't do it with brandy. I don't do it with rum. I don't do it with mezcal or tequila or any of those things. I mean, I'm not opposed to those products. If you want to come home and drink whiskey after work, go ahead. I don't care. It doesn't make any difference to me, as long as your interests don't conflict with my interests. People say, what do you drink when you come home from work? A beer. That's it. Beer. I drink beer. If I'm eating a little lunch, I'll drink 2 or 3 ounces of wine. Right now I'm dealing with sherry from California. Really good sherry too. But I just don't do it. Okay, I don't. Okay, I'm sorry, I don't. Let's see. Pyrotech 1999 says, hey, Ron, I watched to let you know that I found your channel 6 months ago and introduced my fraternity to it. What? Now a group of us watch your channel when we're drinking on Friday nights. Keep it up. Wow, that's interesting. Well, hello, fraternity. Thanks for watching this video production. Don't drink too much. Yeah, so in the battle of blandness, these are 2 exemplary products. So if you're looking for bland, if you want something that has the excitement of watching paint dry, you know what I'm saying? Just dull things, just so bland. These are it. This is it. This is the pinnacle of blandness, these 2 products. And now I'm not saying that as a put down or a criticism, because a lot of people love bland. Look at the food people eat. And I've traveled in northern states. I've been to Ohio, Indiana, Michigan, Iowa, Wisconsin, Illinois, etc. And the food I eat is so bland up there. Like I say, they don't season food over around here. So it's just very bland. And I see them eating, they're like, oh boy, this food's really good, And I'm like, it's really tasteless. But in Florida too, it's so bland. The food in Florida is so bland. You go to the shrimp restaurant, eat fried shrimp. It's you say, well, look where are the people in Florida from? They're not from Florida, really. They're mostly imported. The people are imported from northern states. That's right. And so they bring that. Now, I remember, and I'll tell you this real fast. I've said this before. When I was in high school, elementary school, kids would come from up north to live here because we have so many oil refineries, chemical plants, Marathon, Shell, Nalco, Cargill, which is grain, of course, a food company, but they work there. Exxon Mobil and Baton Rouge, et cetera, so there's so many. And then some of the people, their parents will work at the sugar refinery, I guess, as a engineer or whatever you do at a sugar refinery. But they grew up, these were kids that came from Ames, Iowa, or Akron, Ohio, whatever, suburbs of Pittsburgh, et cetera. And they would be just appalled when they would come eat at the cafeteria. Because on Monday, we'd always have white beans or red beans. We always have standard food here at school. White beans or red beans on Monday. Friday was always fish. It was always some kind of fish. It's still that way, but it was always fish. Shrimp. They might make shrimp etouffee or shrimp stew, shrimp and potato stew, shrimp and corn bisque. This is like school food, literally, all handmade. Or they would have like fried catfish, whatever. Thursday be usually like spaghetti and meatballs, but it was so fiery hot. Even I was a little shocked, because my parents they weren't really into hot food, So here in the river parishes, these people that's what they do. So I can remember these. I got used to it. Like you get addicted to it. So once you go there, you can't go back. So when you're eating spaghetti and meatballs, that's making your eyes water and you're blowing your nose the whole time. You just can't believe it. Like, why would you make it this hot? But then when you get used to it, you can't go back to what was before. So I can remember these kids be from Iowa talking about, I can't eat it. I can't eat it, And then these kids from India, you'd have a few from India. They just thought it was so dull. They was like, this food has no flavor. We need some spices on it. They're from that other extreme. And then, but these kids from Iowa, they just couldn't eat it. We can't eat it. But now by the end of the year, by May, they always would eat it. Now they got acclimated to it. So by the end of the school year, they can't go back. They can't turn back. So now they would just eat the spaghetti and meatballs. It was always handmade meatballs and the shrimp Creole or the red beans and rice. And that's it. They're like a fish that grew up in water, they just can't ever go back. And so that's kind of funny to see. It was funny to see that over the years. I had gumbo for the first time yesterday here in Pennsylvania. It was delicious. It's craft beer-tastic. Oh, that's good. Gumbo. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, they would make a lot of gumbo in the wintertime, especially at my high school. Even when I was teaching it, because, I taught school for over 22 years. And no, we did not get a teacher discount. But we would have, like in the winter, they would have like chicken and andouille sausage gumbo. So chicken and andouille gumbo with potato salad. You had the rice and you eat it. Or shrimp stew or pork stew. I didn't like that pork stew. But anyway, and of course it was so fiery hot. What it would make, I guess you call it normal school food, like lasagna. Of course, they would make lasagna. They would make, in the old days, like handmade pizza. I guess later they had these like pre-packaged thing, but they, I'm trying to think of other like really good stuff they would have. Well, their Thanksgiving meal was always like the big thing. Like they would make the peas, the dirty rice, the baked turkey, the stuffing or dressing, whatever you want to call that. Cranberry sauce. Well, the typical things you eat. And that was always a big hit. And they would do that every year. So. But that's the kind of food we ate at school. And those handmade peanut butter cookies were really good too. I have to admit that. All right. Yeah, so lots of shrimp stew, lots of crawfish, more shrimp. I guess I got that cheap from Jungwa. Like I say, spaghetti, meatballs, white beans and rice with sausage or ham, red beans and rice with sausage and or ham, and fried catfish with all of those accoutrements. All right, so thanks for watching this video production. Do we have a winner? Oh yeah, I forgot to dance. Yeah, I figured it was dance because it was so bland. So yeah, you can tell them apart. The Dewar's has a little peat, but it's so minimal, it's not even worth talking about. So the winner by default is Dance, because you can get a whole liter for $8.99. And I don't know why in the world you would go pay $19 for a bottle of Dewar's when you can get a liter of Dance, equally bland, just a little more bland. And I'm not paying a lot for nothing. You know what I'm saying? Now, there's nothing offensive about these, so they're well made in that sense. Like there's nothing abrasive or it's something wrong with it. And I can give you some American blended whiskeys that'll just make you want to pull your hair out, make you want to tear your teeth out, jump on the third rail in a subway, you know. But those are like atrocities that nobody buys really, except for the most cheapest of the cheap tightwads, you know. Anyway, well, there it goes. There we go. Dewar's is just soldiering along, losing most of the taste challenges, exciting no one, standing out in no way. So if you want to live a humdrum existence and drink stuff that has almost no exciting character, that is like a black and white movie that's not even interesting, you know what I mean? It's just like a Dewar's is like a ringtone, not a ringtone, a dial tone. It's a dial tone. It's a dial tone. It's like, ding, you know, it's just like a stasis. Yeah, buy it. Yeah, wow, how great. All right, thanks. Well, we're going to close out Dewar's over the next few days. Might take another week. So if you want to watch a week worth of bland videos with zero excitement, this is the place to come.